training right now. Hey everyone, what's up? My name's Micah. Welcome to my new apartment. I'm so excited to be filming my first official video in my room. Me and my roommates are planning to do an apartment tour soon. But yeah, that'll be coming soon. Today's video is going to be a Q&A about being a camp counselor. If you didn't know, I worked as a counselor for about 13 weeks. And so I don't have the tan to prove it, but I have the vlogs. So if you want to go check out what I did this summer, definitely click the links to the different videos I have down below. I did title those videos what it's like to be a camp counselor, but I do feel like vlogs don't always give you all of what happened, because the vlogs, obviously I edit a lot out, and so I thought it'd be cool if you guys could ask me specific questions that you had and then I could answer them. I know it's not summer anymore, but maybe if next summer that's something that you're considering, you can be thinking about it now. So there were 9 weeks of actual camps. We did 2 weeks of dual week at the very beginning of the summer where girls and boys are there at the same time, and then we do boys week, girls week, boys week, girls week, high school week, boys week, girls week, boys week, girls week, and that's the summer. And then prior to that, staff shows up a week and a half early for staff training, and then before staff training starts, you can go 3 days early to get certified as a lifeguard, which is what I did. Lifeguard training I was really nervous about. I had just heard like scary things, but it ended up not being so bad, and now I'm certified for 2 years, which is super nice. If lifeguard certification at your camp is not mandatory, I would still recommend that you do it if it's an option, because most likely they pay for your certification and it lasts for 2 years, so even once you're done with camp you can take that and get a job somewhere else. I don't know, I don't remember a ton about staff training. Obviously it is a lot of just sitting through lectures and seminars and videos, but also you have to learn all the camp songs and traditions and stories and things. So it kind of felt like we were the campers for a little bit, because we would play the games and do lots of like get to know you activities so that we knew the staff better, so that when summer started we were all super close already. I definitely liked staff training, just hanging out with people my age, knowing that once summer started it was going to be all about the kids. But by the end of it, I was really excited for the campers to get there. So at the camp I worked at, there were a lot of different like branches that you could do as a camper. So we had day camp for kids that aren't old enough to stay the whole week overnight. And then we have adventure camp, which is the equivalent to day camp, except we go to satellite parks and set up there and let the kids come to us. And then we have residence camp, which is for the kids that stay overnight for the whole week. And that's when you're an actual camp counselor for 24/7. So in total, I was a counselor for 4 weeks, and then the other weeks I was either a lifeguard or a photographer. I actually never did day camp or adventure camp. I don't know, I'm not honestly that upset about it. We were allowed to request different jobs for the week and stuff like that, so I never requested day camp or adventure camp. So the first question I have is, what encouraged you to start being a camp counselor? I think just going to camp as a kid, I don't think that there was ever a doubt in my mind that I'd want to do it. So I definitely think that like going as a camper really inspires that, but also if you've never been to camp, I wouldn't let that, you know, discourage you from trying. What was your favorite part? Honestly, just like making friends with my campers and having relationships with them. My favorite age group is probably like 13, 14-year-olds going into high school, because I feel like that's such a pivotal point in your life when you're trying to figure out who you are. What's the worst, weirdest thing you have to deal with as a counselor? I'm trying to think. There were some kind of gross things, like gross hygiene things I had to do. It's a lot more with the younger kids that you see like gross and weird things that you have to deal with. Like you might have a bedwetter, or like if a toilet gets clogged, like that's your responsibility as the counselor. When you're older, it's a lot more about like the bugs, like you're responsible for killing them or getting them out of the cabin, and that to me is super stressful because I'm not a huge bug gal. But as the counselor, did you hear that? As the counselor, that's your job, is to serve them, which leads me actually into a little spiel. You definitely learn a lot about putting others first. And this is by no means me saying, I'm so selfless. Me and the staff had this saying that we were always reminded of. It's even though it's your week 7, it's their week 1. So just reminding yourself that even if you don't want to go off the blob at the lake, if that's something that they want to do, then you need to be all for it, because they're paying for it. This might be the best week of their year depending on what their home life is like. Like that's your responsibility to make this week special. And so even if you're not up for it, you still need to say yes. So that was definitely something that I had to learn really quickly, just like dying to myself. It's not about you, it's about the campers. How old do you have to be? So the rule for most camps is you have to be done with your freshman year of college. I know a lot of camps do CIT, which is counselor in training, where well, I think when you're 17, it's 17 for most camps. When you're 17, you're allowed to like volunteer for the week but not get paid. So I did that for 2 years. And so someone asked like what's some advice that you would give CITs, I definitely just say, from experiencing both sides as a CIT and having a CIT, it's really important that there's communication between you and your co, because a lot of times as the CIT you can feel like you don't really know what to do, and then your co's kind of like, well, I don't want to do everything for them, but also I don't want to have to explain everything. So it's just very much like communicating when the campers aren't around so that they don't know that you don't know, because some kids will take advantage of you knowing that you don't know everything. So I don't know, it's a fine line. Definitely just communicate with your co, let them know your strong points, your weak points, where you want help, where you want to do it yourself, and just ask questions. But yeah, I would recommend don't tell your campers you're a CIT, and don't let your co do it either. That's the worst. Do the kids behave? I think it really depends on like the group you get. Every cabin's gonna be different. You have to remember there's a difference between like kids being bad and kids being kids. Is the food good? I think it depends on your camp. My camp got a new cook this summer, so we had exceptional food. Thanks, Bradley. What's your favorite thing about camp? A lot of things. I like working with kids, but also I like that you do it alongside other kids your age. I think just camp culture is so much fun, and so I love the camp songs. I love just the idea of getting dirty, and I don't know, camp is fun. Do you get any downtime? So at my camp we actually had a designated rest time every afternoon. So when you're in a cabin, there's a little bit of time after lunch that you and your kids will go back to the cabin and rest. And then the weeks that you're not in a cabin, you're support staff, and so your time is a little bit more of your own once you're done helping with whatever activities you're assigned to. Honestly, I feel like the latest I went to bed all summer was 2, which really isn't bad. And I didn't do it a lot either. I don't know, I value sleep, so. Do you lose your voice a lot? That's a great question. I didn't actually lose it that much over the summer, except for when I had Cabin 11 with my friend Brittany. We were super competitive, and so there was a lot of cheering and yelling, and that week I lost my voice. Is it a hard job? I mean, I think it really just depends on you as a person and how easily you're able to set aside your comfort. To be a good camp counselor, you need to be able to set aside your comfort and your interests for what's best for the kids. Is it hard to be patient? Sometimes. That's something that you definitely learn to be better at as the summer goes on, because by the end of it you are so exhausted and you've done all the same activities a ton of times, but the kids are different and they're new and they're energetic, and so you definitely have to learn to be patient and realize that they're not intentionally trying to antagonize you. Well, sometimes they are. Just remembering that they're kids and they've got to get their energy out somehow. What happens if a kid does not want to sleep? You stay up with them and you just do your best to coax them back into their bed and close their eyes. I did have a couple sleepless nights with some of my younger cabins. Either they were homesick or not tired, and so you don't want to like stay up and talk to them because that just prolongs bedtime even more, but also you don't want to seem like you don't care by just like rolling over in your bed and saying just go back to bed. I feel like a lot of being a camp counselor is just figuring it out as you go. What are some big responsibilities you take on that you're not a fan of? Probably killing bugs. Disciplining kids was never fun, like taking away pool time and things. Being the bad guy sucks. Do you show your kids your videos? I actually did. Yeah, I gained a lot of subscribers this summer, and I'm pretty sure it's just people from camp, so hey. Do girls recognize you from your YouTube? That actually happened twice this summer. I was teaching a rock climbing class. I'm wearing a shirt for my YouTube, and 2 girls were like, oh my gosh, I love that channel. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. Do you ever feel like a mom with so many kids? Absolutely. There were so many times, I feel like this happens to moms all the time, where I felt like people were calling my name, or like a little kid was calling my name. They weren't calling my name. It just, I don't know, you're constantly like counting and on watch for all of them. Do you sing any songs with the kids? Yeah. Camp song after camp song after camp song. And then of course I brought my ukulele, and so we would jam out in the cabin. Do you braid the kids' hair? Yeah, a little bit. What a camp stereotype. Rate how hard it is to get your cabin mates to bed. It depends on the age group. The younger girls, it's definitely a lot more difficult. And the last question is, how much money do you make? And that differs from camp to camp. So when you're looking for camps to work at, definitely look at like the structure of their camp. At my camp, we got paid a little less than some of our competitors just because of the different branches that I talked about, like where you could work. Because I know that the camps that you get paid more, you have cabin after cabin after cabin, whereas at mine you could have a cabin and then a break as a lifeguard, then maybe day camp, and then another cabin. Like, you don't have cabins the whole summer. Okay, so that's all the questions. I hope that this helps you out. I know school's starting and summer is pretty much over. I just figured I would film it while everything was fresh on my mind. I've only been home for like 3 weeks. It feels like yesterday, and I miss all my friends a lot. You definitely create a lot of really great relationships, not just with the campers, but with your staff. I mean, you're living together, and so it's the best. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I know I don't normally do sit downs. Maybe you want to be a camp counselor now. That'd be super cool. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.